I am with a very, very special lady. And this lady is actually a certified and accredited neurolanguage coach. So she's one of my amazing neurolanguage coaches in the world. And I would like to introduce you to Isabella Keilani. Good morning, Isabella.
Good morning,
How are you?
Rachel. Thanks for having me. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, and very, very excited to allow you to tell the world a little bit about yourself. So you are located in Graz. You've worked as a language trainer for many, many years for English and for German. You have a lot of other beautiful elements that we'll talk about in this interview as well, that really bring in the holistic you. So, how has neurolanguage coaching transformed your way of working so that you're supporting your learners?
So I have to say that I have been interested in how the brain works for a long time. I am a trained interpreter, and when I was a student back in the 90s in Graz, cognitive science started entering the curriculum. And for me, this was something very exciting. The focus back then was on so-called schemata. It was a schemata theory. And as you hear already, it was still very theoretic back then. So we didn't really know how the brain worked. It was just ideas of how the brain could work. And we were talking about schemata theory and understanding texts. A schemata, or schemata, it's a plural in that context, cognitive structures that are already there in the brain and that are activated when we read a text and we want to understand it. And the fascinating thing is that schemata are different for everybody, for each of us. They depend on our prior experiences, our cultural backgrounds. And so the fascinating thing, the amazing thing, if you and I, if we read the same text, if we listen to the same speaker, we might understand it in a completely different way. Completely different pictures might pop up. Why?
Yeah.
Because the schemata are completely different. We have different backgrounds. And so, and this was the first time I realized that every brain is different. Every brain is unique. And then this came up again in our neurolanguage coaching training. And by now we know that it's not theory, but every brain is different, is unique. So it's got a different structure, physical structure. We know that from CAT scans and so on. And how has it changed? How has my teaching or the way I support my learners changed? Well, when I started out, my focus was a textbook. What's there in Unit 2? What do we need to cover? What is the curriculum? This is what was on my mind. And now, so what's on my mind is the individual student, the individual brain. And this was a huge difference.
Fantastic. I love it. So what for you then essentially are the differences between the language coaching, the neurolanguage coaching, and training or educating language?
So as I said, the huge difference is the focus. The focus is not on the material, not on the textbook. The focus is the learner or the coachee, the client, that is our guide. So our focus are the pain points of the client, the resources they already have. And everybody has a lot of resources, people are just not aware of it. So it's the resources, the pain points, the limitations, it's their specific needs. And this is where we start. And then we look together, where does that client want to get? And then we're planning action steps of how we can support them to reach their goals. And learning is not easy, especially for busy professionals. So
that's right.
They have their lives outside of the classroom. And it's very nice to expect that they leave all their issues on the coat hangers when entering the classroom. This is just not a reality. And and I'm very glad to have been able to learn coaching strategies, coaching techniques that help me support my learners in overcoming their challenges, their blockages, helping them to learn efficiently. And so with the learner in mind, it's completely different than just with the textbook in mind. And I think this is the huge difference here.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Well, also, I know that you teach groups, you coach now groups.
Yeah.
So is Neurolanguage useful for you when you're coming into a group session as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the coaching is what I do with individual students. For groups, I offer training, but nevertheless, so it's completely different, of course. So we mustn't forget that learning in a group is really stressful for a lot of learners. They just have the feeling they need to perform. They are afraid to make mistakes. They're afraid to lose face. And with a coaching approach, I can take all these things into consideration. And also with coaching techniques, I can help them think deeper, and thinking deeper makes learning more memorable for them, makes it stick better. And then also with my neuroscience knowledge, I know how to design learning experiences with the brain in mind. So in my trainings, I'm more of a facilitator. So I really create events and trigger learning for the trainees. And the thing is, with that neuroscientific background, I know exactly what to do and when to do certain things. So gamification is a huge topic in group sessions because it guarantees dopamine release. And so dopamine release is so important if the topics are serious or if it's hard to memorize them. So whether it's grammar issues like phrasal verbs or terminology, technical terminology, also communication skills like patient-centered treatment, if you add those elements of gamification, and you know when, people sometimes don't even realize they are learning. Only at the end, because I always do reflection sessions, then it's, okay, right, there has been some major learning going on, but they were just enjoying it. And I think this is something that I really like and that I can take from the neurocoaching science and bring it into my regular training programs. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm hearing that you're really using those brain-friendly grammar conversations.
In traditional language classes, you just told what to do. A teacher will tell you, open up the book on page 27. And today we're looking at present perfect. And don't forget present perfect is used with the signaling words blah and blah. And we use it with the auxiliary. And people, they doze off. Either they might already have that, or they don't know where to bring that into their brain structure. So with brain-friendly grammar conversations, you again start, your student is the focus. So nobody comes as an empty vessel. You start with what they know. Yes. And everybody has a different speed of learning. And so this is why they're so effective and efficient. Yeah, and you could absolutely use them in group trainings. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and you were sharing with me a little bit something that happened with you with a client from yesterday.
Oh yeah.
May I ask you to share that with me now?
Yes, absolutely. Yesterday I had a very nice experience in a training session. It was a small group, and it was the first session of a series. And I like to end all my sessions on a little reflection sequence, so people have a minute or so to think back what we've been doing, and then note down some takeaways, which we then share with the class. And so there was this lady, and it was her first evening, and she is a German speaker, and then she asked me, okay, what is Erleichterung in English? The German word Erleichterung. I told her relief. She said, because this is my takeaway of this evening. It's relief. Wow. Because I was so afraid that I might not be good enough for this class. Wow. Really her takeaway. And I think this is the first thing that we need to tell people. So how should they be good enough to learn? I mean, if you're already there, you wouldn't come to me for a session, right? So everybody's good enough. Everybody's okay. Whatever we are, we're okay. And this is where we're starting. And this is where we meet our clients. And then we take them to where they need to go. So yeah, relief. This was really good.
Fantastic. So just imagine I'm your client in Graz, or I'm your client worldwide. What could you do to help and support me?
What could I do to help you? You're an English native, and I know that you speak German really well. So the way I could help you maybe was to prepare for a professional event in German, maybe an interview or a TEDx talk. And so these professional events can be quite overwhelming, also in your own language. And if you then have the opportunity to do them in a foreign language, this can be quite something. So we would then, you're based in Spain, I'm based in Austria. We would then get together in a Zoom meeting like this, and we would see where you want to get. So you want to blow your audience away in German the way you do in English, in your native English. And we want to get you there. So how do we start? First of all, we look at your own resources, because there's so much there already. And then we would really see, what are your needs? How do you learn? What works best for you? And then we will break it down step by step, calming the brain, so that you finally get there and you can enter that stage and you can blow them away.
Fantastic, everybody. So do connect with Isabella for English and German neurolanguage coaching, and all that experience and wealth of expertise that Isabella has in the background together with that. And Isabella, amazing work that you're doing in the world.
Thank you very much, Rachel, and thank you very much for that interview. It was really a pleasure. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.